yeah, so hey,
Hi.
it gets to be. Thank you. Like honestly, thank you so much for all of the gear and just being. Honestly, you've become like kind of like my dad. Like you've
Thanks.
Like it's uncle. It's kind of Uncle Darran kind of stuff going on here, and I really feel supported. So thank you. Yeah.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome.
One of the pieces that goes with this walk is just having some of the big conversations of our time, and you're the first person I've spoken to about this, so I'm interested to know what you think some of the big conversations of our time even are. I haven't brought this to anyone else yet.
I think there's two parts to that. And it's not always about conversation. I think there is always a need for conversation, but there's also the doing, the part that is a rite of passage or a physical process. And I think the big conversations are around what are they for you as an individual. We're not told those stories. We're not seeing those examples. You know, you so graciously said that I was part of your inspiration to do this. But there's not many people that do. There's not many people that undertake a pilgrimage or feel the need. You know, they get that wanderlust, that desire, and sometimes it is escape. Sometimes there is a need to not be somewhere, and sometimes there is a desire to be somewhere, and sometimes the process is a long walk. So the conversations are around the things that we've forgotten, the ways of being, the things that we should be doing, the questions we should ask of ourselves. I think everything's very unique, though.
Are you saying almost like the questions, or if there are questions, and if the questions are the thing we're speaking about, then it's almost like what have we forgotten, and that these being willing to do something like a pilgrimage or a walk or something that kind of brings us into life, that's where we actually learn what those, what our answers to those, our personal answers to those questions are.
Yeah, there's something about. We were talking earlier about the Emerald podcast and the fact that, you know, the wanderer, that the road itself is part of the process. And sometimes it's not a question or just a question. It's a thing that you do while you're asking the question. Whether that's a deep connection with nature, whether that's pushing yourself physically or mentally, whether that's isolation, whatever it might be. There is a doing, there's an act, a ritual, a rite of passage. There is a thing that needs to be done while you're contemplating. And sometimes you don't know what the questions are. You know, there are coaching questions, there's books full of them. But sometimes you just need to start moving, start going through the process and let what needs to come up. For my pilgrimage, my walk, I didn't know some of the things that were going to come up, some of the experiences that I was going to have. You know, we've shared the moment where I face planted in the dirt after really kind of a struggling moment, tears flooding, questioning everything, not just as to why I was on ridiculous walk, but how I got to that. And then in a moment, standing up, laughing, being filled with energy and rolling on. I would never have known that was part of the process. I would never have known all of the things that came up in that moment of lament, that kind of breaking down, and, you know, it wasn't a kind of life flash before my eyes moment, but it was very much like I was looking at decisions I'd made 20 years prior. I didn't do the walk for that purpose, but they came up, and it was the doing of the walk. It's almost like that. It creates almost like the sacred space, or the conditions to allow space for the right questions to come up and for you to find the answers.
I'm almost hearing like the walk, doing the walk, or doing the pilgrimage, doing the thing where we really bring ourselves to life. It's almost like consenting to the mystery to reveal itself to us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look at a map, you can watch YouTube videos, you can carry, you can research all the kit, but you don't know. And for someone who is by nurture and nature a planner, a kind of risk manager.
Amen. I needed it.
It was challenging to, when your boots are on the ground. I could have ended up, you're going in winter, I went in with the hottest summer on record, and there were points where I ran out of water, and all of a sudden it's like, hang on, there is supposed to be a stream there, where'd that go? What do I do now? And all of those, it's like you don't know, and it's how do you respond in that's both an inquiry but also a teacher, because even if you think you're going to respond to one way, or your pattern is to respond one way, when you're actually faced with that, you soon learn to change pattern. That you can't continue doing what you used to do or thinking the way, because you're on your own. There's no one there to go there. There's no one there to rescue emotionally, to talk you out. It's like, and our survival instinct does not allow you to just sit there. So again, I've done some, arduous things, some high risk things, but for me, it was in those moments where it was just me. And there were times where I didn't see anyone for like 2 or 3 days. But there's something about, if there's only me to rely on, who do I need to be? Who am I?
You know what else I'm hearing and what you're saying is this idea that, like, sometimes the big questions become the little questions. Like when we do this, it just really comes back to what's most important, and just in living through the day, and in really being present, and in surviving, and in tending to our bodies, and just the real human experience, like tending to the human experience. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you. I love what you just said. The big questions don't become they're not so big when the reality is, how the hell do I get off this hill? Or how do I get water? Or I'm in pain, how do I manage that?
Feels like proper rite of passage, kind of.
It is.
Like that's what you're supposed to value in those moments. Yeah.
Because the reality is, everything else is a construct. Even if it's a deep, soulful, ancestral one, it's still a construct, because there are no bears and tigers facing you in your head. It's
just chavs.
Just chavs. it's the real risk, the real threat that you're faced with, and how do you respond to that?
Yeah.
And why not just in my own experience, but I think meeting people on pilgrimages, on trail walks, and things like that. And some of those people, you just don't expect them, because visually they look either very ordinary, or some of them even quite kind of puny and gangly, but their mindset and the stories that they then shared about, this is the first time I've done it, when I did it, I was this way, and I didn't think, but then this happened, and I found it. There's something in this, and I found it. Even if we don't know what, we weren't looking for it, it's like we find something within ourselves. And I think that's partly why we do it. It's almost like, I know there's a thing inside me, I don't know what it is, but this compulsion, this desire, this need to walk, to travel, to pilgrimage, that's what it's meant to do. It's like
we're meant to hear that call and follow it.
Yeah. And when you first told me about yours, my first reaction, what, this time of year, that distance? But there was another part of me going, can I come? And I've decided no. But yeah.
Come walk a mile with me.
Yeah, maybe a mile, maybe a mile, maybe 2 if I got
or
feeling
have
crazy.
coffee or something.
Yeah. But yeah.
Okay. So last question. So just imagining that the tribes are gathered out there, and the wider tribes are receiving this transmission, what do you have to say to just the people out there in these times on Earth, and just in this moment, in life? What's your message to all of us?
Seek discomfort. Because I think being comfortable is the one thing that not just stops us growing as individuals, but I think it almost creates an emotional neediness and a weakness, which takes away our sovereignty. Because we're constantly relying on something else or someone else. And we forget how resourced and how resilient and how clever we can be when we need to be.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sitting down with me.
You're welcome.